we got two boxes. This one being the right, this one gets opened up first. Not only because it's on the top, but because it kind of looks like it's in the shape of VHS, but it's obviously not. So two things shipped. Okay. And that's the receipt, which I can secretly put over here. We can take a peek at these. I think I got that last time. This looks familiar. But, okay, no, I guess there's one more. Jam-packed with samurai. Okay. And then we got the Amazon package. This one contains some non-anime stuff. That's being very careful here not to kill myself with a pair of scissors on camera. I don't think I would have much luck posting that on YouTube. Ow! Should be worried about this thing. Ouch, the thing wants to go straight to my finger. Let's see. Let's dig the non-anime stuff. So we've got Under the Dome Season 3, which I do believe is the last season of that. And obviously this is Ant-Man DVD version. There should be Ant-Man Blu-ray version. Blu-ray 3D. Okay. Now we can get down to the anime, which is in quite a pile. So we'll begin with the thing that looks familiar from The Thing. It's The Thing. Definitely curiosity. Oh look. What's dubbed? Region A only though. So let's start opening this. First, since I released it, got that. That's an idea, but hey, it all came off. And then the DVD version. Ouch. Let's see, there it is. Plastic was a little harder on this one. So, we've only got one disc here. And this could have been light enough to only be one disc as well. So, the question then is, what kind of anime is this? Is this a TV series? Is this a movie? 90 minutes means it's either 3 episodes or movie. Don't want to spend too much time looking. I didn't see any answers. So it is, who knows? Rail Wars! I actually saw the first episode of this. Japanese, 300 minutes. I don't think there was a Blu-ray version of this as well. But I might have to double check. In case there is, and I'll have to pre-order it or reorder it or deorder it or something. A lot of women not wearing too much on for this artwork. I mean, I remember it being at least somewhat fan servicey. I don't know if it was the kind that shows skin, but oh well. Let's see. This is a Funimation release, right? Funimation. Let's pop it open. This is a Riddle story of Devil Akuma no Riddle. I do believe that's the same thing in both English and Japanese. You know, Akuma no Riddle would be... Akuma can be kind of translated as devil, I think. And no Riddle, that would be Riddle of Akuma, if I remember correctly. And this is that says DVD, that says DVD, so I think this is a DVD only release. Which makes me wonder if this is a Genie on Rescue of some sort. English, Japanese. So I guess this means it's both, this one is dubbed, I think. So we got this with disc 1. 7 episodes. Episodes 8 through 13. Doesn't look like there's any notable extras. Nope. I don't know much about it. The name I've definitely heard before, but I don't remember the context. So, let's see. ZX Ignition Complete TV Series Collection. Discotheque. I'm trying to remember if Discotheque has actually done a sleeved release like this before, because this feels different somehow. I'm not going to go too far with this piece of plastic, because I did see this. Now I can crumple it up into a big little ball and no sticking. Okay. The consistency of the DVD case almost made me wonder if these were burnt discs. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess burnt would be the right word, because technically when they're silver or gold like that, these are both silver, of course, that means they're pressed. And audio Japanese. Just kind of curious, because if they did go above and beyond on this one, it wouldn't be surprising if they went above and beyond. I have no idea what to think about this. What color will the future be? Actually kind of hard to read. Last but not least, we have the Irregular at Magic High Volume 3, which I've still not watched any of. Volume 2 is not too far away, and I think that's because Volume 1's probably already been ripped onto my private server, but most likely I think I can toss these since it's self-contained. Whoa. Let's see. This doesn't say the list of episodes. We do have 2 discs. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. $200 seems like a potentially good number of episodes. I'm trying to think if they're 20 minutes per, that would be 10. 25, that would be 8. So that means that if they've been coming out 8 at a time, that I might have the entire series. I should probably double check that and find out. We've got stuff, booklet. We've got postcards, but I'm being lazy with those, of course. Standard questionnaire, proof of purchase, and there we go. That's assuming I can get all of these back in here. This week's anime DVD collection update. So, my friend came back from his trip to the eastern, he went up to New York, Washington, D.C., whatever. His trip, he came back from that, and so we finally watched this. You know, we watched some stuff together, and Sword Art Online was one of those. I think I was vaguely familiar with this happening, but I didn't remember until I put the Blu-ray in. This only has 3 episodes on it, and so it pretty much covers a mini story arc that happens in between the first story arc of Sword Art Online 2 and what I'm guessing is going to be the... I'm not sure if it's appropriate to call it the finale story arc, because, like, I wouldn't have called the Alfheim arc finale story arc for Sword Art Online. Maybe an ultimate, a final, okay, it was the second story arc, and in this case, what can I say about these 3 stories? It's okay. It kind of gives that feeling you kind of had while watching the first part of Sword Art Online, where you wanted to see more of the gang. And it does that, but I do have to wonder if it's really quite appropriate, the thing I'm thinking about is it basically shows them going on a quest of potential importance to the MMORPG that they're playing, but to a certain extent, even though they're kind of doing action-y things, it's kind of hard to appreciate the action, I guess. I mean, I know some people out there are definitely going to like them, but I've said this before about other stuff, where, to me, there kind of has to be an action to, a purpose to the action, a drive. You know, it can't just be like, here's this thing, it does a flip. It's like, it's just a computer animation. It's not showing somebody who's actually doing a flip or whatever. So it's hard to be impressed by something like that, in my opinion. You know, it'd be cool to be able to do that, but I don't think that's the same thing as being awesome, per se. So, I guess, to give an example from earlier in Sword Art Online, when they introduced the Alfheim stuff, sometimes there's this need to have action-y moments and desperation when it's not entirely clear why they are needing to be desperate at that point. And maybe you know what I mean if you've watched it. If you haven't watched it, you don't know what I mean, and that's good because that's the goal. So in this case, there's something like that, and that comes from the form of we aren't really given context for understanding the MMORPG that they're playing from the point of view of the rules of the game itself. I think Log Horizon definitely showed similar problems, but nowhere near as bad as this. And I know some of you who watch Log Horizon think that's not the case, but the thing you're forgetting is that Log Horizon told you about the rules after it tried to be clever about them. And this is kind of the opposite of something like No Game, No Life, where even if the show itself kind of knows what it's going to do that's clever, you kind of have to give people the rules ahead of time so that you kind of understand why it's clever. Because, like with Log Horizon, this was an early episodes thing, so I think I feel fine saying that. They talk about how, oh, this is enchantment, just does a lot of damage every time somebody gets hit, but it's nothing too spectacular. And then here's this useless attack that hits somebody 1,000,000 times for practically no damage. And it's like, it's a fucking obvious combination. You can't convince me that the main character is a genius for using this when that's pretty obviously how they're supposed to be combined together. And it may seem like it's easy to say this after already hearing about it there, but that's the problem, is you can't really say, okay, well, I figured out this piece of information given what they gave us ahead of time. And so what you want to do if you want to convince people that you're being clever, you know, you kind of come up with rules in advance and then do something with them. I think Isaac Asimov's robot novels are kind of all about that. He creates the 3 laws of robotics and then he shows us how flawed they are. We know the laws of robotics ahead of time. We don't hear about their flaws and then figure out what the laws are afterwards. We're like, okay, why is this robot doing it? Oh, well, it's expensive, so somebody decided to tweak up its the power of the 3rd rule so that it can actually balance itself out and won't just destroy itself because a human says it to. And the example I've been thinking of in my head while talking about this 3-episode arc is No Game, No Life. I really, really loved
word chain game they did there, and part of that is they kind of tell you the rules in advance. So even if it's completely artificial, they at least give you the rules, and then they go beyond that. But at a minimum, you can kind of appreciate where the game is going because you understand the rules, you understand what the characters are doing in relation to the rules, and you know what's at stake. And in this 3-episode arc, you know, you kind of don't know what's at stake. You kind of don't know how much hit bars bosses have, how much damage everybody does, and as far as the game's concerned, everybody's just fucking badass. And they're just running into bosses who are presumably difficult, except everybody just keeps hitting them, and instead of anything that feels like an actual clever MMORPG party setup or anything like that. Which kind of differs a lot from the very first story arc in Sword Art Online, because, you know, they didn't talk about a whole lot of that stuff, but you can kind of feel some of that present. Just because they're like, yeah, you know, here's a guy here, and we're going to need this, we're going to need that, blah, 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 blah. And you can kind of see that even if our main characters are fucking badasses, they're not just some autonomous war machines. And this one doesn't make it seem like they're autonomous war machines, they just make it seem like they're an entire group, and because they're all together, they're just a badass that just mows through everything, bosses or whatever. That's not to say that it's bad, it just means that it just doesn't feel as exciting as I would have hoped it would be. And I don't know. It doesn't really sour my expectations on what's going to come next. I am kind of glad that I'll be able to watch whatever's next in one go, because if it's really good, then I get something satisfying. If it's really bad, then I get it out of the way. So that'll be nice. But I guess that's enough about this. Again, this only had 3 episodes on it. I wonder how much they paid for this, because that could be a pretty high cost per episode density. Then again, it's also very possible this one was very cheap compared to the others, and I had to double check. I'm like, oh yeah, it only has 3 episodes, and the next one has 7 or 8 or something like that. Sounds about right. The other anime I watched was Dramatical Murder, and I had seen that it was rated pretty lowly, and I guess I can kind of feel why. I mean, it's rated low enough that you would think it's outright bad, but the truth of the matter, it's not really bad so much as just not good, I guess. I mean, the characters and the character designs seem fine, some of the settings seem fine, but nothing really seemed to grab. And it's probably weak in another respect. It's definitely based on a video game. It was pretty obvious based on the side story OVA, which was an obvious, oh, here's all the bad endings. It had yaoi undertones, but wasn't really blatant about them until the game over stuff in this side OVA thing. And then it just kind of went up to 11 in that regard. Nothing on screen that would be like, oh yeah, that's 2 guys going at it. Instead, you know, plenty of kissing, suggested stuff happening, and by suggested I mean like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of another example that might be popular, but nothing comes to mind. It's basically, there were definitely guys doing it in at least one of those scenarios. But outside of that, it's, I think the title's not really a great description of the series, I guess. It didn't really feel particularly dramatical, and it wasn't very much about murder per se. I mean, I would have to tell you why I'm not willing to say it's not about murder, but that would spoil it. So if you wanted to watch it, you would be spoiled, and that might be the only thing about it that would be a saving grace for you, I guess. I don't know. The truth of the matter is, I thought a lot of it would be better still images, cool character designs and whatnot. That's my personal preference based on, it felt like the kind of anime that caters to the main character. I guess if I were to come up with an example, Chaos Head, after it kind of devolved devolved or evolved or changed into oh yeah, this is a guy with a sword and here's a bunch of girls with swords. You know, at a certain point, Chaos Head started making sense. And the best parts of Chaos Heads were when it's like, when you kind of had trouble following reality. And after that, it was just kind of like this thing, it kind of felt like it was going through the motions or something like that. And I guess it's the same here. What was I saying? I guess I forgot. Well, other than that, I watched Fear the Walking Dead. It's only 6 episodes, so that was just one day of my weekend. Nothing too big. In fact, it would have been less than one day of the weekend, except I apparently slept most of the weekend. And I thought it was pretty good. Although, one thing watching it made me realize is I missed the zombie apocalypse. Part of this could be AMC writers or something like that, but when it's the zombie apocalypse, you run into so many assholes, but it's not like crowded, jam-packed full of assholes or something like that. And Fear the Walking Dead, it kind of felt like I'm tired of all these one-off people who are saying stupid things. Can I have the zombie apocalypse, please? I need breathing space. Or something like that. Maybe that's just my own introversion interfering while watching it, but maybe not. And the truth of the matter is, yeah, I guess I'm not going to say that. Because if you haven't watched it, it's actually pretty interesting to watch from the point of view of seeing things from a very different perspective. Now, obviously, the most different perspective in the zombie apocalypse would be to see it from the perspective of a zombie, maybe. Unless you've seen enough of those that you don't really care about their perspective, or you just know that there's absolutely really no perspective there. But there's other ways the apocalypse could have affected people, and we saw it from the point of view of Rick's group, where because Rick woke up after the big catastrophe, he was kind of in he just went from living everyday life to suddenly zombie apocalypse sort of scenario. And Fear the Walking Dead is very aware of that, and it's not exactly about not that, but it's definitely saying, well, we're going to be smarter about this. We can't just do that all over again. Because then you're just, it's The Walking Dead, but this time with different characters. You know, you want to make it where you're getting something valuable watching those characters. There's something about them that sets them apart. And you don't want to do something really stupid like say, yeah, let's just make it about a bunch of young kids and they have sex or something like that. And yeah, you know, that's kind of how you lose your fan base in certain parts of your fan base that are like, yeah, if that's all you have to offer, then I'm sticking with the one I like. I kind of feel like Stargate Universe was kind of doing that. I mean, it wasn't exactly that, but it's still the same thing where it's like, hey, little kids, this could be you and your favorite universe. I don't know. It's all complicated. Or maybe I'm just making it complicated. It's been an exhausting day. So, what else is there? I guess StarMaid's cargo update came out. That's been distracting me a little bit because it's a transitionary period and I have to make sure I do not leave my inventory in a place where it can leak out. It has to be transferred from the old storage system to the new cargo system, which is actually already done. And now I just need to build the utilities that I would need in order to fully utilize that, I guess. Because beyond that, there's helping my friends do that, and then there's stuff. I mean, I've other than the Sword Art Online with my friend, I've watched 2 anime that are definitely more for a female audience, and I'm about ready for a lot of stuff this week because they don't look like they're like that. You know, I want to go to mindless stuff on my side of the divide, I guess, at a minimum. maybe something good. It doesn't have to be super good. Whatever. So, but there are potential interruptions this week in the anime watching, depending on the timing of things, simply because, so it was recently announced that Samurai Jack will be coming back, and I've never actually watched it. It's been on my to-watch/to-buy list forever. And I figured this is a good excuse to get that, get a couple of other things. Babadook and It Follows are two things I'm very curious about and are also on their way. So, what can I say? There's a lot of good stuff coming out, which means that things are going to fall through the crack. I guess Is the Order of Rabbit fell through the cracks, didn't it? It's somewhere in the pile over there. There may be other good things too. I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go so that I can get back to those animes. Y'all have a nice week.